This is simple strategy number 4, which is to HODL CiMPLE. That is not a typo. HODL stands for hold on for dear life. And why would you possibly want to HODL CiMPLE? Well, the value of CiMPLE when it comes to being able to redeem these CiMPLE tokens instead of paying transaction fees, right? Because it doesn't have a redeemable value outside to pay for transaction fees, but at least in terms of your ability to get free transactions into the future, when you pay transaction fees up front, you can HODL these CiMPLE tokens, and these CiMPLE tokens will then pay for a much larger transaction fee into the future. And so how much larger? Well, the issuance and redemption rate is changing every single day, and it's going up 100x in the first 2 years, another 100x in 8 years, then another 100x over 20 years. So if you look at it, it's very aggressively basically shooting upwards, then it's mellowing out, right, until it hits 100x. Then it keeps going and it's another 100x, right? But this one's over an 8-year period when the first one was over a 2-year period. Then it keeps going and it starts to mellow out until it gets really close to flat. And on the last day, one CiMPLE token has a redemption rate of 1 ETH. So let's talk about what that means a little bit more. So it just said CiMPLE tokens are a buy one, get one free coupon and have no value outside of redeeming these tokens for free transactions in the future. So let's talk about what that means. 0.3% is the transaction fee. So let's pretend that you bought 1 ETH. When you buy 1 ETH, you would pay 0.003 ETH as a transaction fee. Then you would get the amount of CiMPLE that it is worth that day. Right? So the issuance and redemption rate, just like that previous graph, it changes every single day, but whatever the value is on that day, that's how much CiMPLE tokens you get. So let's just say it's 1,000 CiMPLE tokens, just so we have a number. So you pay that 0.003 ETH, you receive 1,000 CiMPLE tokens, okay? Then let's say the price of ETH goes up, and you say, let's sell that 1 ETH, and it's the same 1 ETH quantity, right? So that we have the same quantity on the same day, so it's the same issuance and redemption rate. Instead of paying 0.003 to sell that ETH, you could pay the 1,000 CiMPLE tokens you just got, and you don't pay a transaction fee in terms of ETH. So what that means is that even though the transaction fee is 0.3%, if you cut it in half by being a buy one, get one free, it's actually 0.15%. And so it would be to buy 1 ETH would ultimately end up being 0.0015, right? So an even smaller half the number, right? However, if you wait, CiMPLE tokens will cover a larger transaction fee. So what that could mean is that over enough time, so we talked about it's going to 100x over 2 years, its redemption rate, right? 100x again over 8 years. Let's say that you hold it long enough that it doubles. Okay, so in that scenario, you bought the 1 ETH, you got the 1,000 CiMPLE in value, but now that it's time to buy more ETH, so then your same 1,000 CiMPLE could potentially cover buying 4 more ETH or selling 4 ETH, whatever the amount is, right? Let's just say that's the scenario. So then ultimately for that 0.003 ETH fee, you've bought or sold 5 total. So then you would take this 0.3, divide it by 5, and that would be your actual fee because of this increasing redemption rate. So that's the reason, that's the strategy behind it. That's why you want to HODL it, because every day the issuance and redemption rate grows until January, and actually this date's going to be pushed back, so this infographic needs to be updated. But same year, 2052, it's just going to be probably March 1st. By 2052, that's when it'll be 1 ETH as a redemption rate. And until then, it is growing in its relationship to ETH. So one other thing to think about what that means is it's in connection with ETH and you're doing something with stable coins. Let's say it's part of your insurance plan or whatever, right? Like you're doing stuff and you're going to pay a transaction fee based on doing stuff. Then the value in stable coins, which stable coins are, let's just say they're always worth $1. There's other videos that explain that in more detail, but let's just run on that assumption for a second. Then the relationship between CiMPLE tokens and those stable coins is going to vary based on the value of ETH. So I'm not making any promises, claims, any of that, but ARK Invest put out there that they thought by 2030 ETH would go to $167,000 per ETH. I'm not saying it will do that. I'm saying that is ARK Invest putting that out there, that could happen by 2030. So let's run on the assumption that they're correct. So that means you pay the 1 ETH now at its value of, let's just say it's currently valued at 4,000, and then it goes to be worth 167,000. Then when it comes to stablecoin transactions, the CiMPLE tokens that you've held covers a lot more in stablecoins. So it is not just that it's going up 100x in 2 years, and then 100x in 8 years, and then 100x in 20 years after that. Again, this is no value outside of redeeming it for free transactions into the future, right? But based on that, its value for free transactions into the future is based on this mechanism, which is a multiple of how much it has gone up in terms of ETH, multiplied by how much ETH has gone up in value to the US dollar, if it has. Right? And the inverse could also be true, right? So if we're in a dip and prices are down, then you may have paid more to earn that CiMPLE in terms of what ETH was valued at that time. The system doesn't care what the ETH is worth, it cares what's the relationship to the ETH. And so that's the thing that matters, but what that ETH is worth could represent different things based on what that ETH is worth. So that's the connection there. And so that's why you'd want to HODL your CiMPLE tokens, is because the longer that you HODL them, the longer up until the limit, right? And at the limit, it doesn't matter because it's got the same redemption rate forever after that. And it's just purely a buy one, get one free, no more. It sort of removes this strategy if you want to think about it that way. But it's over a 30-year period of time, so it should be okay. And then there's 3 ways to get CiMPLE, right? And so if you're thinking about in terms of governance and if you plan or are a CMPG token holder and want to get into what you can do as a CMPG token holder, one of the things is voting on things that we do to mint CiMPLE tokens. So one just mental model is if a restaurant moves into town, they can show up and physically mail coupons to everybody. These are buy one, get one free coupons. So we can issue an airdrop to any select, for a restaurant, maybe it's every house in certain neighborhoods or something, but we could do something where it is only existing Instant App users or only people who have used 1inch or whatever, and we could vote in order to airdrop to these groups of users, right? And so the transaction fee is going to be the bulk of it. Even in this pie chart, it might end up being 99.99% or something, but who knows? It's based on what CMPG token holders decide to vote on for these airdrops. But the airdrops, the reason why we would vote to do that is that it potentially could bring in customers, right? And so if you are a CMPG token holder, your objective is to do the best thing you can for CiMPLE, and bringing in new customers is one of those things, right? So that is another thing that can happen with CiMPLE other than just paying transaction fees. And included in the transaction fees is also buying the NFTs. You'll learn about that more in that strategy. But if you buy an NFT, then you get CiMPLE based on that. And so we've kind of looped that in with transaction fees because it's a payment to the DAO for something, right? One is the service, the other is the NFT. The last thing is the DAO can mint CiMPLE to pay for expenses instead of using treasury assets. So as transaction fees are coming in, there are treasury assets that the CMPG token holders get to vote on what to do with. And if there's a scenario where it is better to just give CiMPLE tokens than it is to use the treasury assets, which might be stablecoins, ETH, whatever it is, if we can pay for things in CiMPLE and the CMPG token holders vote to do that, right? Because you can't just have the token holders say, oh yeah, we're going to set the rules, every payment ever to anyone is in CiMPLE. Well, you have to have a counterparty and they have to be willing to accept that, right? So it takes both sides. The person has to be willing to accept CiMPLE as their form of compensation for their donation to the DAO, effectively. And so if that's how it's being done, that's how it's being done. But it's all based on the vote, right? And so those are the 3 things, right? So you pay a transaction fee, buy the NFT, bulk of it may end up being 99%, we'll see. Token holders can vote to pay for things in CiMPLE, and we could do airdrops to groups of people. That is the strategy for HODLing CiMPLE, and what CiMPLE tokens are, how they're useful. They are on Polygon. Maybe in the future there's ways to put them on other chains, but they exist on Polygon because the bulk of people using CiMPLE strategies are going to be on Polygon to save gas fees. This is the HODL CiMPLE video. And next one is CMPG, going into detail for that one. You don't want to miss it. Click the subscribe button so you get notified when that video comes out. Hit the like button, and if there is anything you think we could have done a better job on, please put that in the comments, and we will try to address that when we do a better job of redoing these videos. Thank you.